So we talked a little bit about ANSI and the outlet velocity, 3,000 feet per minute, and how that has a direct effect on your plume height. Well, there are two different ways to calculate plume height in the industry. The first way is through the modified Briggs equation. Fairly simple. This equation is now more or less being pushed out of the industry, not being used too much anymore. Nowadays, the industry is moving more towards momentum flux. The main difference between momentum flux and the modified Briggs equation is going to be the terrain categories. So where these fans are going to be located, are they going to be in the middle of nowhere, or are they going to be in a big city? All have a direct effect on, your plume height. Why I'm showing you this is because, again, these are life safety applications. We want to make sure that we are being as accurate as humanly possible, when selecting these systems. So there are still some manufacturers out there that will use the modified Briggs equation to calculate their plume height. The reason for that is because using modified Briggs typically gets you a higher plume height. Okay. It's not a significant difference, but enough that, it'll make you turn your head and be like, wow, okay, this competitor can get this much higher of a plume height than Greenheck. And it's just something that we want to make people aware of, because at the end of the day, it's not what we want to see be used just because it's not nearly as accurate. We default to the momentum flux equation in our selection program, but we keep the modified Briggs I should say, on deck in our selection program, just because when we get that inquiry that comes in that says, hey, how come, this manufacturer has a 10-foot higher plume height, a higher 10-foot plume height than you, we want to be able to explain to them, hey, they are using the modified Briggs equation. So what we simply do is, once we get that call, we simply switch our selection from momentum flux to modified Briggs, and we're usually dead on the money with our competitors' plume height. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's a sales tactic. Okay, people want to claim that their fans can do better than, their competitors' fans, but I'm here to tell you, and I'm sure you guys know, these fans, it's not rocket science. Okay, if you have the same fan, same wheel, same motor, it doesn't really matter who you're going against, you should have relatively close to the same plume height.